Sit back, relax a little bit. Let me tell you a story. See if yours is anything like mine. Remember when I was a kid? So much better when I popped the lid. Feel the rabble, open it up.
Exactly, listen to Shawnee. Right, and Cash Out's the easy way to get money transferred when you're out with friends. So jump into that and then we'll get back to it.
He said, baby, jump in the back, boy. Tailgate crazy.
Tailgate crazy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of Fantasy Reports. I'm your bus driver, Cedric Green. Got the co-pilot, Justin, over here. What's going on, Justin?
A whole bunch of stuff, a lot of free agency moves, a lot of fantasy relevant stuff going down, but all good, all well. Sorry about the delay, guys, getting up here live, but we're here for you. We're up to date. We're gonna fill you in with quite a bit of football news tonight.
Yeah, man. There's so much going on these past couple of days. You know, Sunday we came at you with quite a bit of free agency and trade news going across the NFL. Then these, past 2 days, yesterday and today, there was quite a bit of news going down too. So we'll be touching you up on that after we get into Justin's way too early top 25 running back ranking. Yes, that's right, guys. We're coming back with our rankings. We did it last season. So like Justin was saying just now before we came on, we keep those receipts. So we definitely get out there and try to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be coming at you with the rankings, and then we'll touch on the, some NFL updates. Feel free to jump in the chat with whatever updates you see going on. What's going on with your team? Let us know what your team did these past couple of days. Did they make any moves? I know my Broncos had a few moves, and we'll definitely let Justin go off about his Lions. But
no.
We'll get into that.
We don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
But we'll go down these rabbit holes. What we do around here, we just drive around the block and go down rabbit holes. So we'll be doing that, and then we'll touch up on the NBA with the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, who are set to play. So get into some preview on that, and
we're
then
frenemies tonight.
That beat down of OKC from the Nuggets. And then Timberwolves have just been kind of going along too. So we'll hear about those updates. But you guys know what we do. Those of you that are tuning in, hit that like button, get us shared out, let your friends know. And as we do always, we'll go ahead and jump into this promo. And then after the promo, we'll just jump right into these rankings. That sound good to you, Justin?
Yes, sir. Hope you guys enjoy the promo and check them out.
There we go. Yes, you saw it. Check out Shady Sports Network if you're not already. Just head over whatever social media channel you're on and just check out Shady Sports Network, and you'll find us. You'll find other news, all types of sports information, as well as other leagues. I know we just signed on to the there's another arena football league, so I think it's the AAL2. I think is what it is. So we'll be having their game simulcast. So we'll have quite a bit of live games going on these next couple of weeks. These next, rolling into the NFL season that we cover. But in the meantime, in between time, head over there and you can check out other sports as well. So yeah, Justin, we got your top 25 list, your tiers. Anything you want to say before we jump into
25 is a lot too, because that's basically every starting running back in the NFL. Minus 7 teams.
Yeah. So do you feel that your list covers?
It's kind of broad. It's very broad.
It's
open-ended. Pardon?
Do you think your list covers every starting running back?
Yeah, it does. It should. And it's very broad range. I mean, it could be taken for a grain of salt, and it could just it's fluid. It can change a lot before the time the season starts. So right now, it is where it's at based off of last year's finish and the body of work from what these guys did, regardless of injury or not, last year. And I think it's a very, very helpful tool for those of you going into your fantasy drafts this fall before the fantasy season starts. Or if you're if you're in one of those leagues that are still going on right now, you can possibly maybe see if you can use these values or these rankings in a positive way and maybe make some moves and make some trades or sell some players to bolster your team and make that championship run.
Okay. And then, so when you say sell some players, you mean like
either move them down your draft board if you're in a redraft, but if you're in other leagues that are still going on, you use those as tools to probably maybe accumulate draft capital or package into a deal for another player of your choosing, your liking, or a team need.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I know you're saying, and I'm not asking you to change your list.
Mm-hmm.
But when we come out with your second list, do you already foresee some changes?
Yes.
Like, I think there was some, especially I'm looking at it, just obviously putting this together. I feel like there were some moves that kind of make a big difference on.
Yeah, some that didn't make the list that might hop on the list, and some that that were farther down on the list that could move potentially higher up on the list. So that's the thing about these way too early rankings is they're very malleable and flexible, and they can change in the matter of a free agency period.
Right, matter of a couple hours. Well, shoot, yeah, man. Let's get right into it. Those of you watching, go ahead. Let us know in the chat how we do. Jump in the chat, join the conversation. If you feel the player's too low, too high, whatever it may be.
Or any fantasy related questions, comments, or like roster advice, anything. We're here to chat with you tonight. It's fun, easy going. Take it these rankings for what they will and just have fun with it. And if you've been with us before on the show with our other rankings, we'll start from the bottom and work our way all the way up to the top. So make sure to stick with us and see what it all comes down to.
There we go. So yeah, you got tiers. What do you got to say about this tier 4 that we're starting with?
These are the guys that obviously they make the list, but they are just established floor running backs. You know what you're going to get out of them. Not really much ceiling games or pop off games. You could get a couple flashes, but you got to eat the duds where they happen, and then hopefully they're in your running back 2 or 3 or flex spot. I mean, these are no guys that you're probably trying to carry your roster through your season with and making a championship run, but they're nice pieces to have either on your roster's bench or in case of emergency, as injuries and bye weeks are always a part of the season. So it's not bad to have these guys, but at the same time, you got to factor in your roster build and your roster compositions, what sort of value these players at this tier will hold on your team and what you're trying to expect out of them, or what you can, see what they've produced in the past and how that fits with your team currently.
There we go. All right. So jump right into it. Your tier 4 of running back. We got tier 4, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson Jr., Rashad White, Travis Etienne Jr., and Najee Harris.
Yeah, these guys are a good bunch of guys. I think they're very good supplemental pieces for one of these running backs in the top 2 tiers on your team. I think for the NFL, these guys are still solid NFL players. I'm not by any means questioning or devaluing their value on their NFL teams respectively, or what they've brought to the NFL and their teams and their performances since they entered the league. It's just fantasy purposes wise, these are guys that they have new coordinators coming into town, new coaches coming into town, and rosters are always in flux. So you don't know what it's going to look like, how they're going to be implemented in their offenses, because they also have other people in their backfields that are eating away opportunities and carries from them. And it, with the lack of volume, it leaves uncertainty there. And that's why they're not necessarily by any means like a handcuffed on your roster, but there's someone that you can confidently, like I said, fill in on a bye week or injury and be okay with it. But more often than not, you're not relying on these guys to have your absolute boom matchup winning games for you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good way to put it, because I wouldn't be mad. Well, I guess maybe like ETN, you're probably mad having him.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to, you're the bus driver, so you let me know if there's things that you would change about it. That's all good. There's
nothing I would change.
We all see things differently.
Yeah, no, I was just elaborating a little bit more, but no, that's totally fine. So yeah, keep it moving.
Like if we run through these backfields, I know breaking news, if you don't already know, Najee Harris went to the Chargers on a 1-year deal, but in his backfield, going forward, do you prefer Najee Harris or J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. I don't know. I probably prefer Najee Harris being a bigger bag. But I mean, you know, I think.
And then Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby?
Probably a Tank Bigsby.
Okay. And then Rachaad White or Bucky Irving? I think that's a spicy one. That one's a hard to tell because they both do different things.
Yeah, but Bucky Irving struck gold last season. I think it's definitely
and it hurts Rachaad White's value. He still retains it with his pass catching ability and his offense out of the backfield, but Bucky Irvin's definitely the primary running back there. Mm-hmm. How about Brian Robinson or Austin Eckler? I know Eckler was hurt a lot last season, but with that situation, what side do you lean more on?
I'm more a Brian Robinson guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, I go more with Brian Robinson for sure.
And then the last guy in that tier, David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's where I tend to lean too.
Yeah. So
that's the idea of the concept behind that tier of running backs. I mean, if you have them, you're okay, and if you have to use them, you should be fine. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to be just solely focusing on these players to carry your lineups week in and week out to win your matchups. Just help it up and give it that little edge, that little boost over the top.
Right. I think they're more so like flex. Yeah, definitely like very second running back and then trying to fill up the flex spot if you don't have like a breakout pass catcher for sure.
Because for me, in this tier 2, sorry, we can get on after this, but I was just saying for draft purposes for this fall, I mean, these are guys that I'm happy to take later on in the rounds if they fall to me. Like if, I got my running back rooms kind of like set in stone and like just need some help back there, and these guys are sitting there at the later portions of my draft, I'm okay taking a shot on these guys and seeing what they can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, because either one of these guys can be number ones in their team for sure. They have been number one in their teams. So it's not like they can't, potentially strike gold. And I mean, granted, who knows how often it is to see more one way or the other. But at the same time, they have been there, and you have been able to rely on them in the past. So I think it's a good cap out for the top 25 for sure. And maybe like guys like David Montgomery, depending, if they can stay healthy, he might even be a little higher. Same thing with Brian Robinson. You might see them
absolutely. Yeah, higher. I couldn't agree more with that.
Mm-hmm. Damian coming in, 49ers looking like they don't give a damn about winning, right?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit harder with their roster getting older in the cap space, even though it's getting a little bit taller. They're just having to do a lot of roster cleanup this offseason, and unfortunately, that's going to take a lot of hits to what we've expected to see out of the 49ers for almost a decade now. I mean, greatness doesn't last forever, so it's going to be a transition period for them and how they're going to evaluate their talent on their roster and what direction they're going to choose to go. And for us in the fantasy-wise, it leaves a lot of question marks and desires for if we want to pursue those pieces on that offense for our 2025 seasons or not. So definitely a team that's hurting, but at the same time, we just got still, because they have that past, they have that renown, they have that history of being fantasy relevant players in a fantasy relevant offense. So we just got to maintain that eye and finger on that pulse to see what they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very, very true. And I mean, I think we're seeing, the end of what happens when you have a quarterback you're not paying anything for, literally, for a few years, how you can build up a team, and then when you actually have to pay the quarterback, where everything comes down to it. And then all the injuries they had too. They have to make some big decisions. They had to make some big decisions. See them cleaning shop. See Seattle cleaning shop. You see that AFC or NFC West just kind of, I don't know, it always tips back and forth, I feel like, every once in a while.
Yeah, I think that NFC West is very very shifty this offseason already with their moves. A lot of big splashes
I
and a
think
lot
they
of
always go back and forth though. Like every couple of years, you'll see the Rams on top, and then you'll see, 49ers kind of have their time. So I feel like they just kind of go in their little rotation for sure. It's about that time for the Rams to have theirs. And speaking of time, before we get into this next tier, let's take this time and go ahead and take another promo break.
Absolutely. Let's do it, guys. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with us.
All you new guys that just tuned in, hey, you're watching Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network, and we're going through Justin's way too early top 25 running back list. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back, guys. Hit that like button. Please share. Hit that subscribe button so you can be reminded about the shows, and we'll see you on the other side.
Good luck, everyone here. Oh my Lord, who is this? Joe Burrow! Joe Burrow! AFC North smoked it right here, baby. Fanatics, authenticated Joe Burrow on the speed, incredible hit, going to Alpha Wolf. Congratulations, Alpha.
Yes, guys. You see that Breaks GPT, get all your sports memorabilia there.
Please use our code Shady5, and if you do, we'd love to see the screenshots of what you receive in your box from Breaks GBT.
Oh man, I did not. Dang, Damien, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, Damien, look at this. He's got updates.
Defense, right?
Breaking news with Damien.
Yeah, this is a pretty big one. I guess Joey Bosa going to the Bills on a
Okay, what are the details on the deal?
1 year, $12.6 million.
Okay, so I guess the question at hand is relevant here. So, how do you feel? Do you agree or disagree with Damien, or how do you feel about it? He's a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
he's been healthy for the most part of his career.
Too. They did the same thing with Von Miller too, and what happened? He got hurt.
So would you lean on he got overpaid, or would you lean on that was a
I feel like they should use that money somewhere else, but at the same time, you had to pay him that money. He wasn't going to go anywhere without getting paid that money.
So any other situation that's probably an overpay, but for the Bills specifically, that's probably the price you needed to get him to bring him in and be.
Yeah, and which I don't think they needed it on that defense, but they feel they did. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins going to the Ravens for a 1 year, $5 million deal was a much, much, much better deal than Joey Bosa, and I think it was much more valuable too, quite honestly. But that's me. That's neither.
So you'd probably, for the terms of the question, you'd probably say it's an overpay a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. No. I was just gonna say, for me, I don't think that's an overpay because I think for teams have shown this free offseason period already, they're willing to pay for pass rush and to get to the quarterback and disrupt the quarterback. Yeah. I mean, Eagles laid the blueprint down to win a Super Bowl with it. And for the players, that means the asking price goes up and the market goes up. And I think the market reset again when Myles Garrett landed his deal right after Max Crosby's at that 35, and he got that 40. And then now a lot of these defensive ends, like even Michael Parsons coming up for the Cowboys, that's going to be something they're going to have to address as far as what he's going to be looking for getting paid. So I think for a 31, 32-year-old pass rusher, he's been a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's been an anchor on that Chargers defense. You've seen that he's a close to elite player in this league at that position. He's still got some juice left in the tank. And for the Bills, I mean, you can't get past the Chiefs up to this point. Maybe this is the $12 million that takes you over the edge to get to the quarterback and get to the big dance. But
he couldn't take the Chargers over the edge with Khalil Mack on the other side. He's not getting the Bills over the edge. That's great pipe dream. It's a great pipe dream they have, just like when they picked up Von Miller too. But they can keep with the agent ends. I think it's an overpay.
Yeah.
But whatever, you guys gotta pay. I'd rather draft one and then bring one in than bring in, some, I guess you can call him a star. Anyway, moving on. We got running back tiers. Got your tier 3 of running backs. Coming in
A lot of guys here.
This is a pretty chalk. So tell us about this tier 3 and how, because you got, obviously we see you got more people than you had in tier 4.
Yes.
So
yes.
what made you want to put more people in, or I guess what was the criteria that you went with for?
Because we broke it into top 25, so I had, quick math, 4 tiers of however many. I try to break it up evenly within each tier, capping it up at like the elite tier at the top, obviously, and then the cap at the bottom with the bottom tier. So this is kind of like the meat and potatoes part of the tier list, where it's like large clumps of groups where it kind of is like just a little fractional differential things that separate each guy between one another, because they all provided for us different ways, sort of similarly though in fantasy. Like, and it's just a matter of like, picking hairs or splitting hairs of like who that you would have higher up or down this list. Like, it was hard for me to put these numerically out because I don't, to put them numerically as far as like absolutely like Kenneth Walker is 19 and Tony Pollard is 18. They're kind of like sort of in the same, they're obviously in the same tier. So I feel like they all bring and present like the same sort of production as what you're looking to get at out of these players in this tier. I mean, they all in this tier, I feel, have at one point or another in our fantasy season last year provided big games for us to put us over the edge in our lineups, and they've been relatively healthy outside of Kenneth Walker. He was mostly hurt last year, and J.K. Dobbins had his little stint on the injury list, and these guys are someone that you're probably drafting later in the mid rounds to maybe be your running back too, most like you're a flex or fill-in option immediately in case of like one of your top tier starters gets hurt or there's a bye. Or these are great guys, I feel too, if, depending on how the season is going, these are guys are very valuable as far as trade assets based off how they're doing and performing for you on your fantasy teams that you could use to either flip for a guy and tier up into another tier, or you could package in and go and pursue another position entirely and try to tier up there as well. These guys all have multifaceted purposes. They're all dual threat running backs, and despite injury history, they've all produced enough in their fantasy careers up to this point, and for us in 2024, that they're definitely someone that should be on your bench, if not in your starting lineups coming on Sundays for fantasy.
Okay. So do you now, and I know you did this before, the move, but do you still see J.K. Dobbins over Najee Harris?
At the moment, yes, just because I haven't sorted out how they're going to operate those two in the backfield going into 2025. They're two totally different runners in their careers so far. I know they've had their trials and tribulations and their own injury history too, but Jim Harbaugh is a run-first mentality, run-first offense kind of guy. I feel that they're both going to be incorporated probably about 50-50, maybe 60-40, depending on the game, like right in the hot hand, kind of like how we saw with JK and Gus Edwards last year up until the injuries showed up and reared their ugly head. So I feel like once one of those backs have established themselves early on in the season, we can see who will become like more of the lead back. I'm willing to invest and take the shot, though, on Najee Harris over J.K. Dobbins, just because of he's probably going to end up now being the goal line back, the red zone and the green areas, the 20s of the goal line. And he's going to take advantage of a lot of like bigger runs that J.K. might get and bring them into those areas. And, I can see them doing that. But as of right now, I just keep J.K. Dobbins ahead of Najee because he has that tenure and that offense and that experience and that rapport he's already built up with that team. So depending on how training camp's going, how we see Najee in the preseason, and then we revisit this rankings list, it could very well change also.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic about both running backs in that offense.
Well, I would hope it would change, obviously, as we get closer to the season and start seeing true moves. But just looking at it now, in your tier 3, it's Joe Mixon, Bucky Irvin, James Conner, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Tony Pollard, Kenneth Walker III, and Aaron Jones Sr. Is there anyone on this list that you think maybe will slide down, or you could potentially see out of this list sliding down to tier 4?
Potentially, yes. And it would all hinge on how the offenses are looking during the season. For example, with Alvin Kamara and Tony Pollard and Kenneth Walker, if they're playing from behind more often than not in their games, they might, abandon the run a little bit earlier, resort to the passing, and that may cause a little less opportunities for them in the goal line. Bucky Irving and Mixon, I'm confident in those guys are going to be, more likely to move up into the tier 2 range.
That's what
possibly even a James Conner too, if that Cardinals offense figures it out more this year and is more cohesive than they were a year before. But, I think Aaron Jones is out of necessity there in Minnesota. They got J.J. McCarthy looking like they're going to be he's going to be starting the season off. So to give the rookie quarterback some added help in the passing game out of the backfield and running, in between the tackles and the first couple downs, just to take the pressure off of him. So he could potentially move down if they decide to go a different route midway through the season, if they end up drafting a running back in this year's draft and let them take the reins. With Kenneth Walker, it could be a situation of Charbonnet's outshining him and is staying healthier, because Walker's notoriously been hurt, and he's been hurt at all the bad times when you really need him for your fantasy team. So you lose a little bit of trust and dependability there. It can be frustrating. So that's my concern with him. As for Kamara goes, I think it's just how we saw it early on last year for the Saints. They were hot right out of the gate, and you loved it. You had that commodity. And for the most part, he maintained relatively positive value for you, and he was a good asset to have up until the playoff push, where that productivity took a dip because of the Saints were just not competitive and competing, and it hurts. So depending on how that offense comes out and looks for 2025, I think, though, that the focal point for the Saints should be Alvin Kamara, especially with the health of Chris Olave. You don't know what's going on there. Can you rely on Derek Carr to give you competent quarterback play? I just feel like he's like their best fantasy option on that offense if you're going to invest in it. So he should be safe.
Oh, Alvin Kamara's not coming to the Broncos?
No, unfortunately, that did not come to fruition.
Man, that's what I thought, man. Whatever. We're not even going to talk about.
Oh, you got rid of one guy that you didn't want to be a part of your future. So I guess that's a positive to take out of it.
Who?
Javonte Williams moving on to the Cowboys.
Oh, man. Let me tell you. Look at this.
All right, before we go to promo, let's get this quick out of the way with Seth. Let's give him the floor for a couple minutes.
Well, this is just – hold on, let me pull up what ESPN ranks the Javonte Williams move as. Let me see if I can find this. Actually, let's take the promo. I'll see if I can find it. I'll pull it up, and then I'll have it on the other side of the promo.
Perfect.
And then looks like, yeah. So there you go. So yeah, guys, all you new guys are tuning in. We're picking it up. Yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Like you said, hit that like button, please. Hit that share button, and don't forget to subscribe. Fantasy football fanatics, get ready to dominate your league. Tune into the Fantasy Football Reports every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're breaking down injury updates, who to start or sit, trade strategies, and lineup advice to help you crush the competition. So don't miss the inside scoop. Find Fantasy Football Reports on your favorite social media platform, live on the Shady Sports Network. Your championship starts here. Yeah, it does. And we're getting it started super early, guys. So rock with us, and we'll get you there. I promise. Dang, I can't find this.
And hopefully after tonight, we have you feeling that way even more so at your running back position.
Feeling that wave. Ride that wave. Yeah, boy. Especially with these rankings, I mean, we got, like he said, it covers most of the team starters, but a lot of these are multiple teams, quite honestly. So it covers a lot more than that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a broader view of the landscape for the NFL and to see what offenses, running games to target in fantasy football going into 2025.
Yeah. Whatever. I'll find that Javonte report. Oh, actually, let me see something. I just thought it was funny because it's crazy that they decided to move on from Rico Dowdle and thought Javonte Williams is a better choice. Granted, I mean, they only paid him like $5 million.
Yeah. But it is Jerry Jones, though. He's a wild card, he's going all in, and I think to him,
man, he averaged like 3.5 yards per attempt.
It's definitely wild, too, to see Javonte before the injury and Javonte after the injury, and there's the significant drop-off in his production and volume, too, because they lost a little bit of confidence in him with not being able to produce at a consistent rate and bringing in those other running backs in the Denver offense. And maybe they took a little bit of Ced's advice and just says cut bait and focus on a couple of guys instead of rotating 3 or 4 of them out. And for the Broncos, I think this is great for their future at the running back position. They can focus on 1 or 2 guys and move on from a guy that still has,
Judkins
has hopefully some juice left in the tank in Dallas, but the jury's still out on his career and whether or not it's a total bust or if it could be revitalized. So hoping for the best for him, and maybe he has some sort of fantasy value for fantasy football in 2025, and we shall see.
Yeah, right. And then, it's crazy, like teams just kind of getting rid of players doing the same thing. I mean, kind of same situation. Darnold to Seattle, right? They get rid of Geno Smith and basically get a younger version of Geno Smith. I think it was really just the age factor that they were like, oh, okay.
So you would agree that skill level wise or talent level wise, they're in the same tier, Geno Smith and Sam Bradford. So
I feel like if Geno Smith were throwing to Justin Jefferson and what
in that Vikings offense with Kevin O'Connell, you feel that he'd probably produce same or similar value than Sam Bradford did last year.
Well, look what he did his first season with Seattle when DK was at his his best. And I mean, it did enough to earn him a 4-year extension. So basically what Sam Darnold just did. You know what I mean? He took Seattle to the playoffs, won the division, I'm pretty sure, that year. And earned that extension. So it's essentially, and then Sam Darnold, man, we saw what happened, when they got to the playoffs. We saw it not even just when they got to the playoffs. We saw it happen, I think, week 12, week 13, I feel it was, when teams just really had him figured out. You saw frustrated Justin Jefferson, and consistent catches, and consistent yardage from the wide receivers in whole. You saw busted points. If you had Sam Darnold, I had Sam Darnold in my dynasty league, and I was starting Jameis Winston over him at one point. So
yeah, definitely similar players. I like that analysis you came up with because, the same frustrations you had with Geno Smith in the season with the Seahawks is towards the end of his tenure with the Vikings, you started to see those same frustrations with the caliber of play he was putting out there for you. I mean, I think overall for to start off with the contract, the money he got, that's great for him. Congratulations. I think for the Seahawks, that is a good I don't like using the word because it's a little dismeriting and devaluing what this person did, is like a good bridge quarterback for them to push down the road addressing the quarterback situation in Seattle. Maybe they can get 2 or 3 years still out of Sam Darnold, at worst a year or two of really good competent play like he did in Minnesota. But it also comes to realities like what they experienced with Geno Smith of it can be pretty bad when it's bad. So they have to brace themselves for that. I think for Darnold, the player, this is great for him getting a fresh start. Maybe Seattle, if he does well enough there, he's able to get an extension and play the rest of his career out in Seattle. Jury's also out on that if that's going to happen or not. Only the season will tell us that thing. I know early indication you don't think so.
No,
I'm a little bit indifferent on it.
I feel like maybe Seattle's hoping to strike Russ again, right? Because what happened when they got Russ, they brought in what was his name from Green Bay? Forget the backup quarterback from Green Bay's name, but they brought him in, and then they ended up drafting Russ in the 3rd round, and starting Russ over him. So I feel like they're looking for something like that, and Sam Darnold's a good quarterback for that. I mean, Minnesota looked at it the same way, right? You bring him in, and then you have your rookie, and your rookie can either start, and if not, you still have Sam Darnold there, right? And they didn't pay him a whole lot of money. I think it was like 2 years, $40 million. What was it?
Yeah, something like that. Regardless, though, the Vikings did great with the situation, and Sam Darnold took advantage of the opportunity. He played his best ball, and he got himself the bag.
3 years, $100 million. That's the same thing. Like they paid what's his face a big contract too, and then they ended up drafting Russell Wilson. Right? They had the newer coach and Pete Carroll come in and a fresh start. So I think they're hoping for something like that, and I could see that. But I mean, who's Sam Darnold throwing it to? I mean, JSN is.
He's got JSN. He's got Noah Fant. He's got Jake Bobo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have Minnesota's receiving core.
Yeah, he's definitely tearing down in his pass catchers, but the Seattle is also gaining a younger, like you said, quarterback with the same or similar ceiling as a Geno Smith. So for Sam Darnold, the player, this is great for him. This is a great start. And then I think for fantasy-wise, I think JSN will be just fine. I think the other pass catchers will do good too when it's good, but also be a little bit weary and leery for fantasy purposes of where you end up taking the shot on Sam Darnold on your rosters. I would not be drafting him as my quarterback 1. At best, I would have him as my quarterback 2, and just as a roster fill in for bye weeks and injuries in case of emergencies if you so choose to go with 3 quarterbacks on your team. It'll be a new offense for him to learn and a new scheme and a new environment. So for Darnold, there'll be a little bit of growing pains most likely at first, but we've seen he's capable of producing at a high level. It's just a matter of how frequent that's going to be. And for fantasy purposes, it's a little bit more of a risk than reward situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, but do we forget that isn't this the same guy that was already in the NFC West? Wasn't he already in the NFC West?
He did with the 49ers, but he never got the opportunity.
He got beat out by Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, he got beat out by Mr. Irrelevant. So I feel like everyone's forgetting that, and we're thinking that he's just this miracle that he had his one season. I don't know. I think it was one and done. What up, Sam? Since Seattle may have a stronger running game, which then Then Minnesota, Seattle. Well, because they have 2 really good running backs. Okay, so I give it to that by default. I give them a better running game,
and they'll most likely have to lean on that running game harder this year on those guys than relying on Sam Darnold's arm. Where in Minnesota they had to primarily rely on Sam Darnold's arm and get the most out of him and tap into all that potential he had because, you have Aaron Jones back there. He's a great running back in his own respect, but he's aging. He's getting up there, so the production's a little bit lower than you would like, and it wasn't as frequent as probably, what Seattle has to provide in the running back game. So, a little bit yin and yang there, but for the most part, I think it's a good situation for both teams, and for the player, it's even better situation because he has the opportunity to, whether we like it or not, he has the opportunity to extend his career and make it last longer than it would be if he would stay in Minnesota or go somewhere else that has a young quarterback behind him waiting to take over and take the reins, which would shorten his career expectancy where, yes, the Seattle Seahawks have Sam Howell underneath them, but I don't think they're by any means confident or expecting Sam Howell to threaten him to take that quarterback one job or take over the reins for the Seahawks quarterbacks, even though he's younger than Brad Darnold.
No, I see them drafting a quarterback and trying to use him, but yeah, Sam Howell is pretty much a career backup's backup. And I see Sam Darnold as like a Riley Fitzpatrick, right? Just kind of get in where you fit in. Nothing's wrong with that, right? Just go in and snipe it out.
They got him paid, and he's probably fine with that.
Yeah, true. And let's not forget that Purdy was the cheapest option too. With all of those injuries San Francisco had at that time, it was probably the best route to be able to go Purdy because they were able to get all those players that they're not able to re-sign right now, right?
It was low risk, high reward for the 49ers. You invest in Mr. Irrelevant. At worst, you don't get rid of a cheap contract because he didn't work out. At best, you get a couple of Super Bowl appearances and cheap games, and you get to just, hold water there at the quarterback position.
Yeah, but let's not forget, he still wasn't good enough to beat out Brock Purdy. Regardless if he was the quarterback, the coach's favorite, that means that Sam Darnold was just not that much better for them to be like, okay, well, we have to go with him, right? He was just on par. And we're seeing that. I mean, Brock Purdy's, been in the MVP conversation the past 2 years. So we kind of see that maybe he was better than Sam Darnold. But wait, Sam Darnold was a first-round pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I think to finish that point, the 2025 season will be – I'm just saying the 2025 season will be a great – decider on that, based on how well Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold finished their season out.
Well, I don't even know because then we'll have to give Sam Darnold another season with the team, right? We can't just throw him in the first season and see how he does with the new team. We have to kind of give him one more team under his belt or one more year under his belt, I would say, to see exactly what he does. But I get it. I guess it would be a good indicator. I just don't think maybe head-to-head.
Well, they'll get to do it twice a year, and we shall see, and those questions might be answered.
Yeah. So they get to do it twice a year, so they'll have some time. We'll have some games next season this time, so we'll be able to get into it for sure. Maybe we get some 49er fans on, get some Seattle fans on, get some
that'd be always welcome and fun to have.
We got Sam, come on here and talk about those Commanders, Sam. Aren't you a Commanders fan?
Yeah, I thought he was a big Jaden Daniels fan.
That's what I thought too, right? Wasn't he rooting for Jaden Daniels to win the playoffs or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, he was saying something about him being the MVP and whatnot.
I thought he said Jaden Daniels was a top 10 quarterback. That's what I heard for sure of all time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I thought maybe he can defend himself by coming on one of these times. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no, moving on, getting back to these running back rankings. We're getting to the juice parts of these rankings, man. Moving on up. So yeah, as we move into this next tier, which is obviously tier 2, kind of give us your thoughts behind this tier.
Yeah, this is your must draft. This is your must roster tier. This is your anchor to your workhorse. This is your cap off to your explosive running back in the next tier that you're going to get. This is the guy. This is the guy to add the Batman, the Robin, just the sidekick duo, the complementary piece to really solidify your running back room and push you over the edge on your roster and your matchups going into 2025. These running backs here are going to be the guys, for the most part, barring any injuries, that you're just setting your lineup week to week and you're not even really concerned on matchups or whatnot. You know what you're going to get out of them. You see the performances that they had, the big boom games. And you feel comfortable after you set your lineup on Sunday, be like, that's cool. I ain't moving him. It'll be fine. Let's just roll with this. These are good tier of running backs that they're not elite by any means, but they raise the argument of they could get to tier 1, but they're not likely to drop down to tier 3 unless if something really drastic happens or extreme happens in their situations.
Nice. All right. So, yeah, here we go. We got this tier 2 of running back. go ahead and pull them up on the board.
Look at those guys, Seth. What you think? What you think?
Guys,
Initial
man.
thoughts just looking at it before I get into it.
These guys are the heavy hitters, the ones, like you said, that you see these guys, you're like, I got to get them. I got to get them. If you're the next,
and you're looking at them across the
matchup
matchup lineup and being like, "Oh man, I'm going up against these guys this week."
Yeah, it's like,
no.
I don't know so much. So, like, right, you're like, I don't really feel so confident, especially if you're looking out on going into a Monday night, right, and you're maybe up.
Oh
by,
yes, those
6
Monday night
points, you're maybe
miracles.
up by 8 points. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going into playing one of these guys, a James Cook, touchdown beast, a Devon A-Chain who can just kind of go off at any point. Christian McCaffrey, he's anytime he's on the field in the game is 20 points, right? You're writing down 20 plus points for Christian McCaffrey anytime.
Just write that check.
Regardless. Yeah, like Josh Jacobs proved that he is more than a valuable option. Jonathan Taylor, man, come on, 200-yard games. I think he did it twice last year.
I think you're right. Maybe Chad will correct us, but I think you're right, Seth.
Let us know if I'm wrong, but I feel like he did. Breeze Hall, any moment, right? Chase Brown, let me tell you, Chase Brown, they brought in other running backs and literally shipped them out, right?
And he was like, nah, just look at me, guys. Just put me there.
And then Chuba Hubbard, he got the big payday. So this guy is hungry. He literally held his successor off to where they were like, we'll just pay you instead. This is a solid, like you said, must draft guys. You see these guys on the board. If you got a chance to get them, you got to get these guys. This is your running back ones. You're going to put them in. And if you were lucky enough to get them as a running back 2, you're in a very good position, right? Like you probably got a high scoring team.
Absolutely. If you decide to double dip early in your drafts with running backs, like this is a good running back room to have here. And I know you're probably going to get into it. Like the 2 guys rising in here, the Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown from the tier 3 from last year for me. Those guys totally are on the rise. They have the potential to get, even higher, but they respectfully just sit here in the tier 2, hanging out with the rest of these elite to high powered running backs. And they really separated themselves from the tier 3. And we know what we're getting with these other guys, the Breece Halls, the James Cooks, the Taylors, the A-Chans, and Jacobs and McCaffrey. When McCaffrey's not injured, we know what he's able to do.
That would be the only reason, honestly. It's just like McCaffrey, is he hurt or is he not hurt?
Yes, and that's why I gave him his respect. I gave him his due. He's produced as much as he's produced. He's performed as well as he has in the league for as long as he has. So, maybe he's lost a step and out of that tier 1, but still he's got that potency, I like to say, to take it to tier 1. But we got to see first how he comes off of a full season off of that injury and rehabbing it and getting healthy and back to conditioned up to NFL speed, and how that offense is going to work there in San Francisco with pieces moving. There's rumors now that Brandon Ayuk might get traded. Debo's already gone, and it's kind of up in the air with the 49ers offense, but he's the heartbeat. He's what runs through the 49ers offense, and you rely on him with pass catching and rushing and touchdowns galore. So that's why he stayed up here in the tier 2 and came down from tier 1 for me. These are all guys that I wouldn't mind or hate you if you drafted, early in your drafts, or try to like double dip on with a running back in tier 1 to really cement your running back room. Because honestly, for me in 2024, I had a lot of these guys, and they took me to championship games, and they took me through the playoffs. Not necessarily won any of the times, but I rolled these guys quite literally into championship seasons for fantasy football, and I can confidently say they'll do the same for you in 2025.
Yeah, man. What I like about this list is that I probably wouldn't change anyone.
Really? I got a flawless victory from Seth.
Well, I mean, Chuba, man, that was my dude. He had me just like.
Where are you drafting Chuba? Are you willing to draft Chuba in the 2nd or 3rd round in drafts this year? For
sure. That Carolina offense, man.
And to me, that's not even a hot take. I think that's just straight real talk to me.
You thought Tampa Bay had a flaming offense last season? Wait till we see Carolina next year. Man, that NFC South, I'm telling you, they're about to.
It's going to be spicy, Seth. I think it's going to be like that's the division you're going to want to invest in, because there's weak defenses, but high scoring potential,
high octane offense is up and down that division. And I said it right here, right now. I mean, young
he'll put his stamp
quarterbacks,
on it.
man. But yeah, I like Chuba. James Cook, just sneaky good, right? You didn't expect him to be anything, and then you look up and he has he already has 45 touchdowns. What do you say? Sam says 49ers should just move CMC into wide receiver. Yeah, totally.
I would like that take, honestly.
That's essentially what Carolina did, right?
Take less contact off of him from down to down. Give him a little. I think that might be a smart option. It'd be
give him more space so he's able to, and he can use that big body too to kind of run over those smaller cornerbacks and smaller linebackers too.
Hey, and he's definitely the caliber level of player that I'd be willing to trust him to do that stuff with. I mean, quite a handful of these running backs here I wouldn't want to just throw into the wide receiver position based on their abilities and talent. But CMC, I think he could put. I wouldn't say an X-Y, on the outside, but a slot or close to the line of scrimmage and the bubble screen, wide receiver screen, the early slants. And in red zone situations, I definitely see that working out for 49ers. And it'd be honestly fun to watch too. I'd love to see defenses scramble and be like, "Oh crap! How do we defend this?" But I know PS2 wouldn't have any trouble. He'd lock him up, lock him down. But for the most of the NFL, it'd be a different tactic to take a challenge on.
So speaking of that, because that is kind of like a positionless role, going between the two, it kind of changes up completely what he does. And we got the Browns GM coming in saying, he sees Travis Hunter as more of a wide receiver with some packages for defense. Do you think we could see the NFL move towards a positionless kind of type of roles, kind of, not necessarily similar to the to the NBA, but kind of in that category where you could see two-way players or players playing hybrid positions?
I positively think so. I absolutely think so. I think as the NFL goes along, they'll need to evolve their game and evolve their talent to adapt to how these players come into this league and how they train and how they perform and how they prepare to play. I mean, we're seeing it first with the NBA, let alone just the size of their contracts. And you can see the NFL kind of match the same thing with these wild, bigger contracts, similar to the NBA. I mean, I realize there's different cap money situations, but they're kind of taking their game a similar path of what the NBA already has. And I absolutely believe, it's just a matter of time before because what else are you looking for as a GM in the NFL than A, availability, and B, just the option that if you're asking any GM if they have the opportunity to get a player like that to do all these kinds of stuff. Early on in the NFL's days, a lot of those players did play offense, defense, special teams, all kinds of stuff. It got to this age where, you wanted people to hone in and focus on a singular talent and
specialist.
Yeah, but now it's just, I think right now for a little bit, I say in the immediate future, probably now to 5 to 7 years, it'll trickle in and be kind of the taboo, cute idea of ooh, you got this guy, you can do two things. But probably by at least a decade, that you should start to see cement in, and then it changes a lot of teams' drafts as well too. Is am I going to want to take this elite positional player, or can I get this sturdy, steady, dependable all areas guy? So if something happens or goes down, I can count on them to fill that position and be just as efficient as the position they played before that.
Yeah, see, and I agree with Sam right here. It says coaches need to find the best way to utilize players, not necessarily draft players to fit a system all the time. That's it right there. A coach, especially at the NFL level, it should be your job to be able to fit to what you have. That's why we see these players that are, maybe look like they.
And I think what's hindering that set is all these rotational coordinators going on in the league. I heard it first from Michael during the roundtable that we did a couple months ago at the beginning of the year. If you haven't seen that episode, guys, check that out. It's in our catalog. It's a very
We got a new one coming soon. Well, we
piece.
have one this month, so that'll be popping up.
Yeah, nice little plug there. Thought I'd throw that in. And but he would say there's a developmental issue in the NFL going on with all these coordinators rotating and different coaches and like expecting these players coming out of college to adapt to that on the fly and get steady, consistent production. But I think the one anomaly is Baker Mayfield. He's been rotated like 8 different coordinators, but he's still being successful and doing well and performing at a high level. And I think if there's just a little bit more consistency and dependability in the coaching staff and the coordinator staff of like continuity and longevity and like just an expectation of a standard, you could easily fit in these players that, are moldable to whatever system you have in place for them, and developing them and bringing them in to like fit those roles that you need confidently, and get even maybe tap in a whole other tier level higher of what they're capable of that you didn't know before, because we've been just so hyper focused on what you have in front of you and just focus on that and sharpen that to a T, which to its own extent in its own right is important, but it's just another tactic of the game of the sport that needs to be factored in the future and potentially explored more as far as talent goes.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Well, that is so true. And like, I don't know. I think, well, I definitely think we're seeing evolutions happening in the NFL for sure in the way. And maybe, like you said, maybe not even more so an evolution, but more so going back to the past of what it was, but then a newer look of it, I guess, a newer version.
Just a newer generational spice to it.
Yeah, no. But also too, I do think too, we'll see players that are able to adapt and play different positions. I think Travis Hunter kind of truly unlocked that, winning the Heisman Trophy, doing it, playing essentially the entire game. You know what I mean? So, and shout out Enrique Pensacola, Florida boy. What's up, man?
Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining in with us.
Yeah. So I think we'll start seeing more players showing that they can play Iron Man football. There's no need to be, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the whole thing, right? That's the whole point of football, is to prove that you are the Iron Man. So, and I think the NFL will like that too, because it'll be shorter careers, right? People won't be playing as long if they're playing multiple hybrid roles. So I think it'll be shorter careers. Contracts won't be going out as long. You won't see these 10-year contracts going on. So but yeah, no, moving on though. So we have about one more tier left. And that's going to be your top dogs, and obviously it'll be a little bit before we get into.
You know what it is with these guys. These are guys are like, just rock with it, lean with it, rock with it, as they say. Like, you got these guys, you're depending on them to bring you to the ship, the whole dance, and can single-handedly just really mess up your opponent's day as far as matchups go, and make you really happy on Sunday, or extremely sad and miserable for your fantasy experience. Like, these guys are the highs of the highs with very little lows of the lows, because when they do, you're really disappointed, but like that it's like a sweet treat or a candy of like, ooh, once they pop, they really pop, and they've shown in the last season that they do that more often than not, and they deserve to be in this tier and drafted in early rounds of your drafts.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to hear why you have Kenneth Gainwell as your number one. No, just kidding.
Wow, I was not prepared for that.
Nah, just joking. So yeah, guys, you heard it here. We'll be getting into this final tier, and like you said, these are the guys you must draft, but also they are the guys that can, kind of shoot yourself in the foot, or kind of have you down and out the whole season, like maybe watching a Christian McCaffrey that you didn't know he was getting new knees at the beginning of the season. So stuff like that. So, but before we get to it, what we're going to do, like we always do and how we do over here in Fantasy Reports, we're going to go ahead and take a promo break really quick. So yeah, we'll get right into this promo, and then on the other side of it, we'll have this tier 1 ranking for you. So stick with us, guys. All you new people that tune in,
you guys,
please share. Hey, get us. We're trying to get those numbers up, right? We're right at 80 live viewers right now. So get us up, guys. We want to hit that 100.
Let's hit that 100 before we get out of here, guys.
Yeah, before we get out of here. So get it, share it out, tell your friends about it. Be like, hey, check out these rankings. Let me know what you think about these guys ranking their running back rankings real quick. Some guys have dynasty drafts going on, so help us grow, like Sam said. So hit that share button, hit that like button, whatever's easiest for you. We don't care. We'll take it right now. So
we love you. So show us some love. We appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with us. Keep it going,
guys. Keep it going up. So yes, thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back on the other side of this promo, and it's Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network. Here we go.
How are you?
Bring them things, bring them things. I call the plug, bring them things. I bring them things.
That's money. That's cash up.
Yes, guys. You see at Shady Sports Network. Keep rocking with us, man. Head over to the website, the X page, the Facebook page, the Discord, wherever you may be watching this from. Head over and check out Shady Sports Network because we have way more than just these awesome football rankings and drafts that we put out over here in Fantasy Reports and all this great information. But we cover so many more leagues: indoor, arena football, outdoor leagues, basketball leagues, wrestling leagues. I think we have a racing league somewhere out there. Somebody's talking golf, so someone's talking European football. So we have all types of stuff going on, plus the Italian league football that me and Justin, Mike's been getting us into. So keep rocking with us. Yeah, go. I don't know what team I have yet, but
I thought it was the Frogs, man.
Well, it was the Frogs, and then I thought the Dolphins
Rhinos?
looked pretty good. Yeah, not the Rhinos, I'll tell you that. But no, check out Shady Sports Network. So wherever you watch your social media at, you can catch us. So Instagram, I think we're live on Instagram right now too.
Come join us on the Discord server, man. I mean, we got all kinds of good channels on there to talk your talk and, hang out and enjoy, make new friends, and really just enjoy a community that's all about sports and what we have here to provide on the network outside of our live episodes of shows. Like it's a really great place to get more content and really express yourself and your passion and your interests as far as sports, whatever it may be. There's all kinds of channels over there on the Discord. And if specifically for us, we'd love is if you tuned in on us on our Facebook page in our group there. And we got a bunch of extra content that we're popping off and updating on there. So, we'd appreciate it. We'd love to see you and check it out. And feel free to feel comfortable to chime in the chat and keep this little conversation going we got here.
Yeah. Like you said, check it out. So we're 7 p.m. Sunday and Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, coming at you live all the time and bringing you nothing but straight facts, son. Facts. That's all we're bringing for you guys. But we're bringing you, the hottest coverage and mostly fantasy football, some fantasy basketball too. So we keep you going. We got you year round as well. So check us out under Fantasy Reports, and then just check out Shady Sports Network in general. Rock with us. So I couldn't have said it best myself, but we keep you up to date with those off-season moves and NBA moves as well. So yeah, moving on. Speaking of moves, moving on to your tier 1, man.
There you go. You ready for it?
Yeah, I think we're ready for it. You guys ready for it out there?
I mean, the last tier I hit it 100% for said. Let's see if I can follow it up with another flawless victory.
Flawless victory. Do I have something for that? No. Got this.
Yeah!
Hey, that's still good. We'll work on our little sound table, whatever, for you guys to keep that.
There we go. And actually, we passed that 90. We're at 94
right
now.
So thank you, everybody.
Guys, keep it pumping, and we will keep it coming, right? So we love it. We love it. So, yeah.
Plenty of room on this bus. We got 100 seats. Let's get 10 more people up on this bus.
Yes. So a little bit of suspense moving into this top tier 1, like you said, these must drafts. These are the guys you see them, you got to get them, right? Like you kind of got to pick them up. You can't, I don't know, go any other direction. So let's go ahead, get this tier 1 pulled up, guys. Let us know what you think. This is tier 1. Drum roll.
I'm ready for it. Come on, man. Hit me.
Here we go. Yay, tier 1. Woo, woo, woo. Saquon Barkley, of course, Super Bowl
Are you guys
champion.
surprised? Do you hate it? Do you like it?
So crazy that the Giants paid. So crazy the Giants paid Darius Slade. Who did they pay? Oh, what's his face? Wide receiver. More than they were going to pay Saquon last year. Now Saquon's.
Yes, I'll tell you. So the New York Giants re-signed Darius Slayton. If you're not familiar with him, he is just a depth. He's not really like a, premier pass catcher for the Giants.
He's not
He's been
number
there
one.
for a few
He's
years
not
now.
Neighbors. He's not Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
But
Preach it. And he get paid even more so than they could have paid Barkley for. He got 3 years at $36 million. And you already have Malik Neighbors there, like you said. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, stupid. But Saquon got his ring.
Preach it.
Anyway, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, boss, beast. Derrick Henry, King Henry. Bijan, when he hits, man. He's gonna have to do it all for Atlanta next season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about this.
I mean, I'll even make it one sweeter for you here, Seth. I know I haven't done the numbers up to this point because it's been kind of like, same or similar. Like there's little difference makers here, but I'll give you it, and it's exactly how I have you have it lined up on the graphic from left to right. You got Saquon at 1, Jahmyr at 2, Derrick Henry at 3, and Bijan at 4. That's how I have them. These guys are going to be elite fantasy assets for you in 2025. I highly recommend if you're in the first round, towards the mid to later rounds, if it's full PPR or what, you should be fine investing in these guys. They're all essentially elite talents that you want to have on your teams. I don't know how you feel about it, Seth, with the ranking 1 through 4 here, but I think we can agree on that. These guys are players that you can't miss on in the first round of your fantasy drafts going in 2025.
Right? No, yeah, and the Eagles just signed Saquon Barkley to big money. 2 years?
Darius Slayton money, or what kind of money?
Oh no, it's Super Bowl running back money, which they showed you what you do when you have a great running back, right? So he went over 2,000 yards, man. Just led the NFL in rushing yards and just did it most of the season. He carried the Eagles through a few games, literally on his back. Jahmyr Gibbs led the NFL in rush and total touchdowns with 20 touchdowns altogether, man. Just came through clutch any time that the Lions needed him, especially when Montgomery went down. He just proved he could carry the load, which I felt like everybody's kind of wondering, like, can he do it on his own? Just kind of proved he could do it. And King Henry, man, come on, man. McCuzzo out there just continuously doing what he did. He was tied for the lead with rushing touchdowns, had 16 touchdowns, came through. Even with the number 1 rushing quarterback, proved why he's the number 1 rushing option if you have him on your team. And then Bijan, like I said, he just he's gonna have to do everything for Atlanta, and towards the end of the season, he showed you that he's ready to do that. Whether it be catching passes down the field, whether it be running over defenses, whether it be making and manufacturing offense, which is kind of hard for a running back to do, right? But he proved that he can do it, coming through strong when need be, and just kind of snatching away that running back spot. Because I think like the season before was kind of oh, well, he's kind of in a.
They had Arthur Smith and they had Tyler Algier still there. They're trying to just
it was just a whole thing. And then the beginning of the season is like, oh, are they doing that again? No, like,
oh no,
turned to Bijan and just turned it over. And
I know we all in the fantasy community puckered there a little bit, like, oh no, is this round 2 of the last year?
Right, it felt like it, right? And then even a couple games sprinkle here and there, they're like, okay, let them have it, but. They really let Bijan kind of.
And it's no knock on Bijan because I think the Falcons are still an emerging offense in the league. Like it'll be interesting to see how with Michael Penix what step they take forward as an offense goes, if they're going to more incorporate the passing game and the pass catching out of Bijan Robinson, or if they're going to more focus on keeping the pass attempts low for Penix early and rely heavily on that running game and that rushing attack with Bijan, and really entrusting him to be that Saquon level running back, that Derrick Henry level running back that I think has all the talent and capabilities of doing. Like, I think he just, out of those other 3 running backs ahead of him, why I have him at 4 is that they've really cemented themselves with last year's performances as players that have like tapped a lot of their potential and their offenses that they're in and what they can do week in and week out through the playoffs and get you a championship, where Bijan after last season still had a couple periods of there where you wondered like, oh man. But for the most part, you saw the light at the end of the tunnel towards the end of the year where they incorporated him more and they got him more involved. And he really still has this raw talent that needs to just be appropriately demonstrated in that offense and allowed to work and operate. Like, man, I have a high ceiling for Bijan this year. I just unfortunately could not place him over those other 3 guys. I think, like you said it best. I can't really add any more to it. King Henry is King Henry. He's going to do his. He's going to eat his. Even with Lamar Jackson there doing his thing, he's just, like a freight train. He's coming down the tracks, and you just got to either learn how to tackle him or get out the way, because he's going to find a way to get points and big points for you on your teams.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, man. And yeah, you better get out of the way, especially.
I don't personally want to take a tackle from Derrick Henry at all. I don't think
at all. And I mean, Saquon's just kind of gonna do that the entire game from the beginning, from the jump. We did it. We hit over 100 views.
Yeah.
With our Instagram, we have quite a few people
here with us tonight. Thank you. I can't express enough how appreciative I am of that. You guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Oh, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Right? Yeah. Keep us growing, guys. Thank you. Like you said, keep tuning in with us too, man. We're just keeping it coming. Like every Tuesday, every Sunday at 7 p.m. live. We're trying to bring you the hottest updates, and especially NFL fantasy, but both NFL and NBA fantasy.
We're getting there.
We have these rankings. We're getting there. We'll get some basketball sprinkled.
And I will say this too with my rankings. I'm really happy for Saquon. Like, to get out of that miserable situation in New York, the terrible offensive line, horrible play calling and offensive direction, and just spotty quarterback play, to like go somewhere where he's just utilized perfectly to all of his abilities and what he can do, and behind a far superior offensive line and a far superior team in that division, and to win a Super Bowl. I think that's super great for him in his list of accomplishments, because we knew he had the potential to be an elite running back. And after this 2024 season, it only just cemented our fantasy dreams for him to like succeed. It's kind of eerily similar to Christian McCaffrey when he went from the Panthers to the 49ers, except, Barkley won the Super Bowl, whereas McCaffrey and the Niners didn't. But, that's a team effort, a team sport. It's not just falls on McCaffrey's shoulders. But you could see the eerily similar pathways there. And just a shout out to him and the Eagles for that accomplishment that they achieved over the course of the 2024 season.
Yeah, right. Literally from the beginning to the end.
Where do you think the Eagles would have ended up if they never? Let's say they didn't have Saquon. Where do you think they?
Who would they have gotten if they didn't get Saquon?
Yeah. See, Chad. Who do you think? Or we'll just play hypotheticals. The season's behind us. We already know what we already know. But like, what kind of outcome or season results would the Eagles might have had they not had Barkley? Because I think I can count on one hand how many times he single-handedly won them games last season.
Literally won them games. I mean, when you see Jalen Hurts have a 39-yard half, their running back kept them in there.
Don't tell cool.
Right. No,
but it's just incredible to see a player like that has such magnitude and such gravity on a team's offense and ceiling of what they can do. So yeah, everybody, that's my way too early. I like to emphasize that way too early NFL running back rankings for 2025. Let me know what you think. If you like it, you dislike it. Even so, if you move guys around, I'd be interested in very, very, very welcoming to see your guys' lists as far as your running backs go. Because, to each person their own perspectives. For me, this is the list that, in order, I think would get you to championships in 2025 if followed from top to bottom. Is there anyone on this list I didn't have said that you would think would be incorporated onto it or like to see on it? Or if there's anybody that you feel that should probably be bounced from it?
So anybody on this list that I'd like to, let me see what I have here.
Not to put you on the spot, but.
No, you're good. I think I did have something. So, I mean, some players could change and move. Like, I mean, Breece Hall could easily, be switched out for a tier 1 player as well, too, depending on, what happens over the Jets. Although it does feel like they're maybe going a different direction. Travis Etienne kind of, being phased out or maybe gets traded to a different team may end him up in a different direction, Kyron Williams, maybe Zamir White has a breakout season, but
I totally forgive me. I totally spaced on Kyron Williams. I didn't have on this list, did I?
Yeah, well, Kyron Williams definitely top 10.
Damn,
right?
Yeah,
right.
That was on me. I totally spaced on him. That was my bad. He definitely just put an asterisk. He's 25 asterisk. Okay, so
right, but hey, I mean, it tells you though. Maybe not. Right?
There were so many running backs I was looking at, but even so, I should not have forgotten that guy. That is, that is a big miss. Whoopsie.
Where would you put him though? I mean,
I would definitely put him in for the fact of how necessary he is in that Rams offense and how of an impact he has in the short range game. I think he could easily slide it into tier 3 and definitely has the opportunity as one of those players in tier 3 to move up to tier 2.
Okay.
I know you can't do really like graphics on the spot there, but like
I can.
But if I had to, I'd that's where I'd
Who would you slide him in front of?
I would slide him in front of J.K. Dobbins, or no, I'd slide him in front of Tony Pollard, and I think so. Either one of those two guys. I mean, it really depends on because it's not so much the talent of Tony Pollard. It's just that Titans offense is just gross to me. Like I don't know what it is they are, but he takes advantage of the most of his situation. I just feel that Kyron Williams is sans better than J.K. Dobbins and Tony Pollard.
Pylon Productions over on Instagram says Saquon should come to Dallas. I'll let him use my big green egg. He's talking about the smoker, right?
Yeah,
I mean, good smokers.
We saw Jerry Jones swing and miss on one tier 1 running back in the offseason. I don't think he's willing to do that for Saquon.
Oh man, it's just
got himself Javonte Williams though. Said he's got the Denver running back superstar. You don't need
Saquon. You got Javonte, man. So you're good to go over there.
Now, I know we wrapped up the rankings, but with piggybacking off the Javonte move, now do you really see Genty or one of these or Judkins going to the Broncos in the first round, or what do you see them doing as far as their running back room for 2025?
I do see the Broncos either getting a running back.
Will they be fantasy relevant or productive?
Definitely.
Okay.
If they get a running back, that running back.
So you'll want to invest in whatever Denver running back.
I will.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to be full.
That's what I like to know. That's what I like to hear.
Because that's the thing. Like I think that's why they went big on defense, getting Hufanga and Greenlaw.
Those are good moves. I know
really went in. Yeah, because as you saw from my mock draft, it was big. Like, my thing was trying to get like a safety to fill in, was trying to get a middle linebacker to get inside linebacker to fill up that middle. So, granted, Greenlaw is
I do
always
give a tip of the cap to the Broncos. They opened up their checkbook a little bit and address some needs that they well deserved got in the free agency so far.
Right. So if those guys can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think because that's the thing. I feel like Sean Payton knows he can he can pick out offense. He knows offense.
Yeah. Defense is the caveat that needs a little bit more.
Exactly. So he got the defense set, so he can go in, and we're going to see him draft a running back and a tight end early in the draft.
Well, offensively, you're saying invest in the Denver's running back for 2025 in fantasy. Now, if you're an IDP league,
well, let's wait. Let's see how the preseason looks, right? Because most redrafts are going to be after the preseason. So rookie drafts would be a little hard. Rookie drafts, I'm taking the Broncos running back if I get a chance.
Okay. Do you prefer them to take Genty if they can, or Judkins still from your mock draft?
I prefer them. Well, now that gosh, like I don't think they'll have a chance to get Genty. I don't think he'll drop.
Okay, so here I got another one. I don't
want to see them. I don't want to see them.
Judkins or Hampton? What would you like to see?
Judkins. I like Judkins, man.
Okay, yeah, I have faith in your mock draft and would go.
I like Judkins. I think he's but there's some really good tight ends, man.
But you wouldn't be mad if they took a running back over a tight end?
No, I wouldn't be. I just don't want to see them giving up multiple options to get a running back that may or may not be even the best running back in the draft, because they're saying that Junty might not even be the best running back in the draft. So
the defensive side of the ball, real quick, for your acquisitions that you just stated, they made on defense. I know I'm in IDP leagues. I'd like to know, do you think you'd invest in like a Funga or Greenlaw that they brought in? Do they fit that?
I mean, all I've been hearing about Hufanga every time I've been hearing his name, man, Troy Polamalu.
Okay.
Troy Polamalu is his mentor. He went to USC.
Would you say they're startable assets on your fantasy team in IDPs, or they're rosterable?
They're rosterable just because.
Okay, so at least go after and get them if you can.
Yeah, they may be hurtable most of the time. What, Dre Greenlaw played what? He played like 4 games.
They got reservations for the hospital.
Yeah, so they may be hospitable or hospitable.
Look at that. Michael's not here for the dad jokes, but you got dad puns.
But I mean, for a fact, we got DJ Jones coming back.
And Zach Allen, Cody right?
Barton.
Wasn't he hurt?
We got Zach Allen. We'll see.
Or what was it? No, was it Singleton? Who was it? Who was the one that was hurt?
All of them. Singleton was hurt. Singleton got hurt in the preseason. So yeah, him and Greenlaw should look really good.
It should be. I think they can get to Patty Mahomes. I think they can get to Herbert. I think they can get to Geno.
Oh yeah, especially if we saw just Patty Mahomes, get gotten on just a 4-man rush. Oh, let's go. Let's go. But like I said, they haven't played a whole lot of games. I think Hufunga's played.
Maybe that mountain air is all that mile air is all they need to help them get conditioned and healthy and good to go for the season.
Yeah, I mean, we did pretty good last season, minimal injuries to our guys, and we have the nutritionist or the injury guy from he's followed Sean Payton, so I think he's been doing a pretty good job of keeping these guys in shape. And then like you said, maybe that thinner air, just cleaner air, whatnot, just helps them out. Like Russell Wilson said, Wolverine blood, blah blah blah. They re-signed Riley Dixon to a 2-year contract, so hopefully he can take that next level, because quite honestly, besides the fact that he was able to shine last season, he probably wouldn't be a starter on most teams. Probably wouldn't have gotten the opportunity, and he got the opportunity and took advantage of it. So hopefully he can truly take that next step to becoming, I mean,
he's like the Sam Darnold of his position. He took advantage and made the most of his opportunity.
Exactly. So hopefully he continues to move forward being a younger player. That's the thought, because if he falls back or stays the same, I feel like his tendencies to get figured out. He's going against some top receivers here in the AFC this next season, man. So, I
well,
think
like you said, one of them left to the Ravens already. Hopkins to the Ravens. So
yeah, Hopkins,
Chiefs
especially like stuff like that. So, you know, when you see players like that aren't maybe not be that number one option, you know, that he will be guarding, but they are, you know, the number one in receiving yards in the NFL right now, you know. So he's gonna have to guard you know, a really great route running Jerry Jeudy, you know what I mean? Maybe once or twice, and see them in the zone. So he has to take that next step to where, because this is it, where teams, you know, receivers have had the offseason to look at his tendencies to see, you know, how's his hips moving, how fluid is he, you know, is he turning quick, is he, you know, this and that, is he jumping routes? So you gotta improve. So hopefully he can improve. I think having Hufanga will help that. Just having him being able to fly over and kind of come over the top on a lot of plays will keep a lot of receivers not wanting to go over the middle. I hope so. So hopefully he won't get too many cuts against him and be able to just kind of cover out in zone. We'll see how he does, but I think
it's looking bright over there in Denver for what you guys are doing so far. So it's good to see.
I think it's looking really bright. And at first I was like, what the heck, man? We're not doing moves. All these receivers going here and there. But you know what? I like our receiving core.
I think Sean Payton and, you know, those guys have a plan. If it's not, you know, in free agency here with the remainder of days, I think they'll take care of it at the draft. I think they'll be more than capable of taking care of business.
Yeah, no.
Of those,
I think so, for sure.
Of those running backs in my top 5, outside of, you know, the elite, or what's one of those top 5 running backs are you the most excited about potentially having on your rosters in 2025 for fantasy?
Saquon.
What?
Saquon.
Okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs, actually. Jahmyr Gibbs too, just because he was
those are 2 guys that, like, you see they fall to you on the board and you're just like, yep. Don't even think you're that excited about getting on your team right away. And
yeah, I got lucky with that Gibbs Montgomery combination last year.
Hey, it works. When you have a great offensive line, you can roll out 2 different style running backs like that and be productive. And maybe you'll see.
I don't think there was too many teams that use the 2 running back system as well. As
they're trying it, and maybe, you know, teams get better about it. But I think a lot of the recipe there is to have a great offensive line in front of them to give them opportunities to break those ones. I mean, you can have a running back by committee, you can have like a multi-running back system all you want, but if they're not blocking for your quarterback and they can't create holes for your running back, I mean, it's kind of a moot point there, even just getting one productive running back.
Yeah. And then like tier 2, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I felt like he got lost in the sauce a little bit.
Are you optimistic about McCaffrey for 2025? Or are you nervous or hesitant about investing in McCaffrey for 2025?
I probably won't ever invest in McCaffrey. That's just me.
Okay.
You know, but that's just me. That's neither here nor there. I mean, if you got him, like I said, you're pretty much putting him down for 20 points.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, those are just a couple things I was curious about. To get a little heat check on where you are at with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, gosh, man, if Christian McCaffrey's there, I'd probably look to see who else is there. Right. But I mean, if I had to get him, I wouldn't be mad. I would.
Yeah.
I would love it. It'd be a good trade bait for people that really love him. But I'd probably rock Chuba or James.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Like, that is the one guy that's going to fly off draft boards, along with Chase Brown, too. Comparatively to where they were drafted and, like, acquired in 2024, I feel those guys are just shooting way up on people's boards.
And I feel like the Bengals did kind of make some moves to, you know, shore up their defense, which I think in theory should help their running game, right? Like they won't have to chuck it so much. They'll be able to kind of slow down games and run away with some stuff. So it'll be interesting to look at that too.
For sure. And the running back position in fantasy football is a very, very volatile commodity. We've seen the injury bug run rampant in years, and we've seen other years and other times where the running back position is the most productive position on your fantasy team. So I'm glad we were able to cover this, go through these rankings, and kind of gauge the temperature we have on these guys, at least for me, for being my rankings. But it's all knowledge is power, and it's good to have in your hands to go into your drafts for 2025.
Yep, that is very true. So let us know
Maybe
how Justin did on this.
Rookies added to the draft in 2020 or added to the list in 2025. Let's see how the offseason continues to go. I just personally, I know we didn't touch on it, but I didn't add it to this list just because I can't translate college production to these NFL players' productions yet, because it's a different game, a different level. So we'll see how the off season continues and where these landing spots go to for these rookie running backs that are coming in. I mean, if they end up in a dud spot, it might not work out. But if a couple of these guys hit juicy locations that could be jackpots for them, and they might creep on in.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, let us know how he did on his way too early top 25 running back list, or more so his top 4 tier list of running backs so far going into the 2025 season. We'd love to hear your thoughts or see your list. Let us see your top 25 list if it's different or how you feel about it. We'd just love to hear about that. So, hey, let's take a promo break really quick, Justin, and then we come back. I want to hear what your thoughts on the Lions movements or lack of movements or whatever they've been doing.
Oh, man.
I want to hear your thoughts about it before we move into we'll talk about some NBA and then get out of here.
Perfect.
So, yeah, guys. So we're gonna take a promo really quick. All you new guys, we got our 101 live viewers and probably more because Instagram numbers don't show up on here for some reason. So I know we have some of you guys over on Instagram. So we're crushing it tonight. I'm loving it.
Thank all of you on all your platforms. And before you get out of here, please subscribe if you would, and share us with your loved ones and cohorts and whoever it may be, because we like to get to keep growing and spreading around.
Right. We just want to. We enjoy bringing this stuff to you, so help us keep bringing it and let everybody know. So let's go ahead and get this promo. Hit that like button, like you said. Please share, and then we'll see you on the other side, guys.
My name is Anton Popoff, and this is my 6th year of college football. Training during the hottest times of the day is a recipe for muscle cramps, which is why electrolytes are so important. Hydration is crucial for my performance. Dragon Salt eliminates muscle cramps and boosts your overall energy level. Whether it's a weight room or field session, I fuel up with Dragon Salt beforehand. It's been a game changer for me, and it'll be a game changer for you.
Yes. I had to get that one in again too.
Hey, I saw watermelon flavor there on that Dragon Salt. That sounds delicious.
Hey, man, I'm gonna have to get some of that Dragon Salt. I plan to get out there. It's getting warmer, man. I want to get out there and start getting some.
Up here, all the snow is melting after a large blizzard. I mean, it makes you want to get outside and get some exercise in, get the workouts going. And what better thing to supplement that than trying out some of this Dragon Salt and using our code, get that 10% off, guys.
There you go. I don't want to say the B word around here. I'm supposed to be seeing some of that stuff on Friday, so I'm not quite out of the woods yet. But yeah, no, like you said, Hetero Dragon Salt, DRGN Salt, DRGN SALT.
That's important. You don't want to screw that one up.
So dragonsalt.com and check them out. Use our code Shady10 and get 10% off. Let us know how it is, right? We'll get some.
Train your game like Anton there, and do your thing.
Do your thing. So yeah, tell us about your Lions, man. I know you sent me something. What was that you sent me about your Lions in their off season? so far?
Woosa. Okay. Y'all ready for the tea? I know we've been hour 30 into this, but I'll keep it short, brief, sweet, and to the point. It's very concerning. It's nothing that I've lost faith in the Lions as a whole, but I've also come to a realization, that it's been a 4-year process here, and for the last 3 years or so, the way they've done business and built this thing up I'm very thankful for as a fan, like bringing this vagabond Lions team into, primetime games and the success that they're able to have. Extremely grateful for as a fan, and internally grateful for the front office and ownership group and the coaches that have done this along the way. But with this year's free agency, it's kind of driven home the fact to me that this is how they're going to do business. This is what they are. And not to expect, even when they have money to spend money or make splashes to make the team better, they'll make moves to keep the team good and relevant, and they'll do things to, stay on that path of what they're trying to do, which is draft first and make do with acquisitions later, be it older players or injured players or the combination of injured and older players. And it's a little discouraging, a little disheartening for, a fan base and me as myself that's been starved for success and for bigger things for so long, and trying to get to that next level and tasting so close of that, being like 30 minutes from a Super Bowl, and just being so close and feeling like, oh man, are we sliding back down the hill? Did we peak? Are we coming back down? Because this off season already with free agency, you're seeing the moves that they're making. They lost Carlton Davis, but they got DJ Reed, which I will reiterate that was a good move. It was a necessary move, but it was a lateral move, in my opinion. They didn't necessarily get better. They maintained being good with that move. I mean, they saved them $12 million. That's wonderful because now they have more money in their pocket. But back to my point of you getting all this money, but you're not using it. So what's the point? Other than what's telling me that they're just going to be signing their guys that they've drafted to bigger contracts when those times come up. So they're rewarding and compensating their players that they bring in, but it's kind of making it seem to outside players that it's not really inviting to want to come in, because you potentially being outside the draft system of this team you're not likely going to get paid, and for being around as long as you'd want, those longer deals. So I'm optimistic, but I'm also realizing that come closer to the draft period, they're going to have to be perfect in the draft with their picks again. They're going to be flawless because they're essentially bringing the same team back for the most part from last year and the year before. Nothing too drastically has changed foundationally. So, and if that's the team they think that's going to bring them to the Super Bowl, when and if all healthy, that is, trust in them that that's going to be the case. But, that idea of Super Bowl window, their Super Bowl contenders is kind of wavering now. And I feel like they're going to be, with the other teams in free agency in the NFC alone, just, flying by them and making moves and getting better and addressing the needs that they need to make. And to have this idea of standing pat, trusting the draft and making lateral moves here and there and being kind of in dreamland as far as we'll just hope that these guys all stay healthy again, and we'll hope that our draft picks work out. But what happens if that doesn't? I mean, not everyone's going to be healthy the entire season. There's going to be some injuries again, inevitably. There's going to be, attrition, but also there has been some fails and misses in the drafts that they, are kind of trying to sweep under the rug and not address. There has been things that, imperfections in their strategy. And I to wrap it all up, I would have liked to seen them, not necessarily like a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, but I think I'm just so, as a fan, starved for some sort of help for Hutch on the defensive line that I'd like to see them make some sort of move as a veteran presence in free agency on that line to go along with whatever they do in draft to address the defensive line, to help mentor and develop a younger player into molding them into a potential, 1A, 1B with Hutchinson while they still have him.
It's funny, man. That sounds exactly like, I feel like, what the Denver Nugget
Is that weird how that works?
has been shouting for the past couple years. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about going young right now, right? Like, why do you care about going young? We don't care about young. Let's get it right now.
I heard an analogy from somebody that's like, you need a car, right? So you need, in this analogy, you need a car, you need a defensive line player, right? Mm-hmm. The idea is when you're buying a car and you're getting a car, you're not doing it to drive it 2 years down the road to get you to work 3 years down the road. You need a car to get you to where you need to go now. So, I mean, it's nice to have that vision of like your future, of what it looks like when you get that car, but like they're at that point where it's like, even with the Nuggets too, you need the car now. You need to, win now. So invest in the car now, which in our analogies, players for the Nuggets to build around Joker, and for the Lions, it's a defensive line to get to the quarterback. So our secondary isn't put on blast every single game to be flawless. And, it's frustrating.
Super frustrating when you watch it and you like, that. And it's just like, what are you guys talking about? Like, what the hell?
Or you get put down as like a Debbie Downer or a negative person. It's just more or less, it's like just being, the goggles are off, the Kool-Aid set down, and you just take a sobering look of the evidence and the body of work as it's been in a period of time, and you really take just that hard truth look at the situation, be like, whoa, what are we doing here? Like, what's the goal? What is the goal? Is the goal to win the season and not the postseason and the championship, or like in some teams' case, win the off season but not, get to the big game? I don't know. It's is what it is. But
yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's so weird. I mean, and it's levels to it though. At least at least we're on the teams are on those levels though, right? At least they're on those levels, to where they, I mean, in a sense, at least they could be losing, right? They could be stuck in that.
I'm very thankful for the success that's, but at the same time, it's like crap or get off the pot.
Yeah. I feel you there. All right, so dang, that was well said, man. Well said.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the moment to do that, because it's been a hot topic in the last 48 hours or so. But it's not all bad. It's looking good. I trust in the draft that they'll do well, because track record is they more so have done better than worse in the draft.
Yeah. So, moving over basketball, man, my Nuggets whooped up on the OKC, coming back on that replay, that back-to-back. Yeah, they got us the first one, but we got them the second one.
Are the Thunder the new Lakers for the Nuggets? Like, they just own them? Like, they're just starting to put them in their place?
Like I said, we just smacked up OKC.
That's what it looked like. They looked like the Lakers playing the Nuggets out there. Like, the Nuggets weren't too concerned about whatever was happening, and they kind of threw the game in cruise control. Or what do you think? How do you see it?
Whoa, I just want our team to be consistent, man. I'm tired of this up and down. Like,
it gets exhausting as a fan seeing like the super highs and like, okay, yeah, I know we can do this. But
so why don't you do it for
82 games, please?
Yeah, why don't you do it all the time? So like, man, and I know it's got to be frustrating for Joker too. Like, quite honestly, like, I know he has to be frustrated.
If you were in his shoes right now, you'd be a little burnt out at least, right? Just a little, come on, man.
Yeah, like, as you know, you kind of get tired of winning personal accolades. You want to win the championships behind it and keep that going. And if that's not happening, you kind of get disinterested. I mean, it's true. Like,
yeah.
you know, just like, I don't know, like at that level, you know, and I don't think I'm at the level in any aspect of my life as Joker is in basketball or, you know, as a Hutchinson is in football. But I mean, I imagine when you're at that level and you're so good, it becomes boring to just be just so good if you're not winning the games to go along with it, if you're not winning the championships to go along with it, right? So
for sure,
you kind of get tired of it. You're like, well, yeah, I could do this, or I could just.
Does it make you feel like he's going to want to move on at some point if he can?
I mean, I always felt like he was probably going to move on around like 36, 37. What is he? How old is he now? Is he like 36 now?
I think he's at least 30.
He is 30. So, yeah, I always felt he was going to move on like, 35, 37 by then. So that'd be like.
It kind of sounds like from your perspective that might be the case if this trend continues for the Nuggets, if they don't, give him more than one championship.
Right, because he's gonna be like, man, screw you guys. I'm gonna leave and go play with Luka in LA.
Oh, that would hurt as a Nuggets fan, wouldn't it?
He would never do that. Joker would never do that. I don't think he'll go play for another team. I think they would have to trade.
That's good though. It's good to have those players where like loyalty is important to them, but at the same time they got enough tenure and like seniority to be like, all right, guys, come on now, what are we doing here?
I mean,
because you think he's got to have had conversations with, at some point, right? Like he's not just.
You would hope so.
To be like a leader of that team, to just like motivate in a way, like, come on, guys.
I don't think we really have that guy. It's just like DeAndre Jordan is like that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody else is that guy. Christian Braun, I mean. Think maybe a guy to try to talk to people, but he's still super young. Other than that, Russell Westbrook, kind of come in and instill that championship mentality, I guess. But what has Russell Westbrook won besides
MVP? That's a good question. I don't legitimately know. Nothing I know of. Maybe an MVP.
Joker's won more MVPs than him.
Yeah,
and has almost as many triple doubles. So it's not like he's bringing a championship mentality. I mean, Christian Braun, he's won championships at all levels.
He's promising. I mean, he's still like got some developing to do, and like in the right situation, he can mold himself to be a solid piece to like.
Yeah, I feel like MPJ just kind of had maybe too much go on in his life. His brothers, I feel like he's trying to live up to that. Oh, he's supposed to be a first-round pick. I don't know. I feel like he's trying to live up to that hype. I don't know. I just feel like he's just not playing to himself. I don't know. Jamal Murray's just doing whatever he wants to do. Just out there. Afro Murray, just whatever he wants to do, man. We're benching bench players. That's how bad it is, right? You got Cam Watson getting benched.
But hey, you guys are on the right path, looking like you're going to just slide into the playoffs and take care of business.
Oh, we're just that good. The team's just that good. That's the problem. Is like they've had.
So they kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it mode.
Well, they've had all this time together. They kind of know each other, right? And it kind of sucks that they didn't add the pieces to kind of make it deadlier because it's just going down. It's not getting better. You know what I mean? Like you're not.
If you're making just lateral moves, you're not doing things to make the team better. You're just at worst making the team worse because you're not making anything to get better.
Yeah, because it's not going to get better if you're not making it better. You're not going to draft, and they're not going to. I don't know. Like it's kind of a hard, especially if you have a coach that doesn't really want to play rookies until the season. As much.
Yeah, it sure seems that way.
It's kind of hard. So they're bumping heads. You got the coach doesn't want to. Malone knows what direction he needs to go into. That's why he's one of the most winning as head coaches in the NBA. Is one of the longest tenured coaches out there.
But he can also be his own worst enemy with how he's rolling out the lineup.
True, but the thing is, you shouldn't have to play a whole squadron of young players.
Yeah,
you should only have to play one or two, maybe sprinkle in young players. So that's the difference. I don't know.
It didn't hurt that, or I should say, it didn't hurt. It didn't help that Swatson got hurt, and there's been other shortcomings from the roster this season.
Yeah. What about your Timberwolves though?
I haven't checked with the standings recently. That's a bad fan on my part, but I think
they're still right below Golden State in the standings. Let me pull up the standings.
I think you might be right. And my temperature check on them is I'm hopeful that they'll get into the playoffs and not a play-in game, like one of those final spots there, but it's got to be close to flawless basketball at this point. You can't have stretches of 3 or 4 game skids of losing anymore. You gotta, you can handle the, one-offs every here and there and just maintain some sort of balance. But if they can get on a run, that'd be awesome. That'd be sweet because they've had a couple of those recently, and that's weathered the storm. But at worst, I think they're a play-in team this year. But at best, I feel like they can creep in one of those top final spots, like a 6 or 7. But
they're at 7 right now. They're a half game behind Golden State.
Okay.
They play the Nuggets tomorrow. So.
Okay. To win, in order to win that game, my early prediction is that Ant has to put up at minimum a double-double and not fall out. And the bigs on the team have to shut down Joker. Otherwise, I think it's in the Nuggets' favor. I mean, it's literally a coin flip for me. I can see a pathway for both teams to win, but like you said, I think there's just another gear right now that Joker has just not had to put the pedal on, and I think the Wolves can bring that out in the Nuggets. And if it gets to that case, I think it leans in the Nuggets' favor. But if the Wolves can contain Joker and minimize the impact of the Nuggets bench when they're resting and giving the starters a breather, I think that's the best case scenario. But and I have no idea what kind of lineup Finch is going to roll out. Julius Randle has been playing well since back from injury. DiVincenzo has been playing good too. Rudy's back now, so some of those younger guys they relied on that stretch in between, kind of taking a bench role, but that's not necessarily a bad thing just because of how the usual starters are kind of playing complementary to efficient basketball. That's got them to where they're at, where they were hovering in the play-in spot almost last month for the greater part of it, where now you're in a position where take care of a business in March, maintain that energy and that poise in April, and then we can see some serious projections for a playoff run.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's going to be a good game too. I'm looking forward to see.
I hope they don't do what they did with the Spurs and let the Nuggets put up 121 points where you have to score 140, but
Joker may not play, so if Joker doesn't play, then
what?
Not gonna win. Yeah, so we'll see.
What is he injured or something?
He's day to day. He fell on his elbow against OKC and the second.
I did not see that.
Yeah, and then he just this is the first game, not last night. This was Sunday night.
For him and his health, do you see, is this a game not to overlook or bypass the Wolves, but is this a game that you could just take it off and rest him, or do you think this is one that you need?
This is a playoff team. You have to play them against playoff teams, quite honestly. You gotta play full strength right now against playoff teams.
I suppose the Wolves gotta take your best shot, so let's get it.
Right, because there's there's I guess there's
20 some odd games left, not even.
There's a month and a half left. So there's I guess a month and all of March, so almost 2 months left. Basketball. Okay. Well, not even.
That'll fly by fast before we know.
There's a month left. There's a month left of basketball, so that'll fly by. You gotta, but you gotta, especially if you're trying to hold on to, that second, third spot and seeding, you gotta play these games and win these games. Like LA starting to falter right now. You can't afford to fall down either. I mean, Memphis can pick it up any moment. Golden State's eating up. Minnesota's trying to get there. The Clippers can do what the Clippers do, and all those teams can do, and Phoenix can jump into it. I mean, unless Kevin Durant tries to fight everyone, maybe they won't.
Hey, sounds like a perfect recipe to bring him up with Ant and get technical fouls and have a bunch of fun.
Yeah. Well, man, guys, this has been a good one, man. We got well over 100 views. That's been the goal all season, so
we did it, Ced. We hit it.
Yeah.
And thanks to all of you who joined in, and thank you for all of you who are still, tuning in with us, sticking with us. We appreciate it. We're happy you love the content. We're so eagerly excited to keep putting that out for you to come on Sunday and get this bus filled back up.
That's very true. Come back with us Sunday night at 7 p.m. same time here on Shady Sports Network. Head over to Shady Sports Network. Check out our other shows. Dynasty Academy is rolling out. We got around the world indoor football, I think it's called.
Something like that. I always get that title mixed up.
It's a long name. But anyway, we got other shows rolling up. We got that spring ball starting up. And then, of course, we got us rolling into the season with the draft coming up next month. So we'll be hitting it heavy, guys. Hitting it heavy for sure. So keep rocking with us. Thank you for getting us there tonight, guys. All of you that came and joined on. Thank you for those comments. And on Instagram, too, Pylon Productions, thanks. All you guys that tuned in over there. Gosh, who do we have on here? I feel like this was such a long episode. We're going Sam.
Hey,
Sam rocking with us.
Like I said, every time, so when we get to this mark, we make 2 hours look good.
Yeah, we just rocked through it. Sports PSP, thanks for rocking. Damian Hernandez.
Damian, thank you. Thank you, Sports.
Yes. All you guys, man.
Thank you, Sam.
You for
everybody.
Thank you for getting us there. And come back. Let's grow. Because now that we hit this 100 viewer mark, the next goal is to get to 1,000 live viewers and to get 100 comments. So let's get this.
Let's do it. I mean, you're just as much as part of this bus as we are. We're creating this content, putting out for you, but you're helping us keep this content going with your viewership and your, dedication to tune in with us and stick with us every Tuesday, every Sunday, every set, making us part of your nights and making us part of your form of like go-to information for football and basketball. And we appreciate that.
Yep. Like you said, and keep rocking with us because that's what it's going to be. Yeah, we want this bus full, man. We're trying to see. I want this comment window just rolling down where I'm trying to keep up with them.
I just start rolling. But yeah, even if you do know this, we will get to your questions. We will, if you're going to chime in with us in the chat during the shows, we're not going to let it go by to the wind. We're not going to let it be ignored. We'll get to it. I mean, if we miss it at the time, we apologize. We'll get it to it as they come in as fast as we can. But we value and we want that engagement from you guys as much as possible because it helps us grow and it helps us be better, and it also adds to the conversation and adds to the episodes of the show. It gives it a little salt, a little flavor to it, a little spice, and
what did it say? How did it say it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. So keep rocking with us, guys, and we'll keep bringing it to you for sure. We enjoy it. And we'll be having our roundtable coming up too. I think it's going to be on the 27th, is what they were saying. So
you're not going to want to miss that. That's always entertaining, fun.
Especially right before the draft. Right before the draft, we'll have our college experts come on. We'll have our indoor football experts on. We'll have our arena football experts on. And then we'll have our NFL analysts and experts on. So, yeah, we'll have everybody on here, and it'll be really – so we're going to get into some spicy chats on that for sure, I feel.
Hell yeah.
We still got those open spots in our sleeper league, so hit us up.
If you want the challenge.
Yes, come. You guys, I know you're up for
You got to take Ced's crown, and you got to beat me out in a playoff spot. Let's do it. We're ready for it. We need a couple more people in the fantasy football league, and we need a whole league's worth of people for the basketball league, so we get that popping off for the 2025 fantasy seasons.
Yeah. Yes. So
just let us know in chat where you're coming from, and hit us up in our handles, and we'll get you in there somehow.
There we go, guys, and we'll keep it rocking. So, guys, thanks for rocking with Shady Sports. It's been fun. It's been real fun, actually. So, I hope you guys have a great night. It's been fun. Thank you for your list, guys. Let him know how he did, how Justin's list was. His top 25, way too early, 2025 top 25 running back list. So, get on it, check it out, and keep rocking with us. We'll see you Sunday night at 7, guys. Have a good one.
Good night.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.